Okay, good afternoon. I'd like to the topic one, what is a vector and types of vectors and examples of vector types. On the topic one, we shall check on what is a vector and a quantity having direction as well as magnitude, especially determining the position of one point in space relative to one another. Then when we talk of a vector, we talk of magnitude as a basic tool in defining what a vector is. Then we shall look on types of vectors. We have a zero vector and a unit vector. When we talk of a zero vector, we are saying that a zero vector, we can rename it as a null vector. It's defined as a vector space that has magnitude, whose magnitude is equal to 0 and an undefined direction. In any vector space that we get, there is no direction, meaning the force acting at both ends is equal, and it has a null space that is a zero vector. Then let's look at this example for zero vector. For example, suppose two people are pulling a rope from its two ends with equal force but in opposite direction. So the next force applied to the rope will be a zero vector stroke a null vector, as the forces balance each other out because they are in opposite direction. So when talking of a zero vector, the forces must be equal, because the moment the force is unequal, that is not a null vector, because one side will have a greater force than the other. Then we shall look on a unit vector. And what is a unit vector? We'll look on how to find a unit vector, and when we say the unit vector with the same direction as a given vector, we divide the vector by its magnitude. For example, we consider the vector v having the coordinates 1, 4, which has a magnitude of v magnitude. If we divide each component by v, we will get the vector v, which is the same as direction as v. Given the below example, when we have, for example, 1, 4, we'll take the magnitude of 1, 4, meaning we'll square everything in 1, that is 1 squared plus 4 squared, that is 1 plus 16, that is root 17. So when we get root 17, the v magnitude will be equal to root 17. So we'll divide everything. The one coordinate, that is will be 1 over root 17. Then again, comma, 4 over root 17. That will be a unit vector. And I think on that part and whatever we've discussed, it qualifies to narrow down to that introductory part, so that we should at first understand what is a vector, the types of vectors, and examples of either zero vector or a null vector or a unit vector. Okay, thank you.